Hey you guys, this is Sarah Prince with The Sarah Show. I wanted to jump on here really quick and let you know, actually, I have done a podcast show before. 2 years ago, I had a podcast called Breakthrough to Your Beautiful Life, where we talked about ways to increase your awareness so that you can change the life and follow your heart in the way that you truly desire. But life happened and that podcast no longer exists. So I wanted to play it for you here on The Sarah Show as the first 20 episodes or so, just as an added bonus, absolutely free, because a lot of what I talked about on that podcast is very similar to what we will be talking about on this podcast. So please enjoy, and I look forward to sending new episodes to you with The Sarah Show in the weeks to come. Welcome. This is Sarah Prince, your friend and mentor. I'm here to help you break through to your beautiful life. I'm excited because today we're going to be talking about self-care. And I like to say self-care is more than just washing your face. because funny enough, I used to think that, self-care is just make sure you have a daily skin routine, or you wash your face at the end of the day, and you know how to do your makeup or something like that. And I was completely wrong for so many years. So I want to make sure that we touch on this today because it's so, so important. If you are a young lady like myself, or a mother, a wife, woman, anything like that, I know it's very, very difficult for us to take time on ourselves. And sometimes it is for the men too. I see moments when I tell my husband, I say, I want you to take some time for yourself. I want you to do what you want to do, and etc. And sometimes it's hard for him too. So I think this is something that everybody deals with, because with how we're so innately wired as human beings to take care of others so much before ourselves, it's something we have to completely relearn. And sometimes we only think, I take care of myself. I have good self-care. I get enough sleep. I feel healthy enough or well enough. But it's so much more than that, because this is talking about every single part of yourself. We have the care for our physical needs. We have our mental and emotional needs, our spiritual needs, and then every other combination of how those fit together. You see, the physical part of us, we're really good in our culture to basically take care of our bodies with cleanliness and brushing our teeth every day, showering, and taking care with how our bodies are presented. But that's it for a lot of people. And there's so much more. And so let's explore this idea today. Because self-care, just on a physical level, that includes what you're eating, how you're nourishing your body with water and food, how you are exercising it or not, how you're strengthening it or not, and beyond just simple cleanliness. When we talk about the mental side of self-care, our minds need nourishment just like our bodies. And when, just like a muscle, if we're not flexing it and it atrophies and gets weak, the same goes for our brain and our mind and how they work together. And things like meditating or just reading, going to beautiful performances of music or theater, taking a new class to learn something new, listening to motivational podcasts or inspirational messages on a regular basis is also a part of self-care. If you're talking about spiritual self-care, whether you're religious or not, tapping into your higher power in whatever way that makes sense for you. It could be prayer on a daily basis, meditating here as well. Meditating is a very spiritual experience for a lot of people. Studying scripture or reading your Torah or any sort of writings from religious leaders that you subscribe to, going to church, attending community gatherings, getting out into nature and just feeling the earth under your feet. All of these are ways to nourish our spiritual part, the self-care of our spiritual side. And then we have our emotional side. That can be a lot of these kind of emotional for me is kind of a crossover between mental and spiritual. They all kind of play together. But emotional self-care can look like journaling, or we just did an episode on the power of journaling, so you can check that out. And using that to nourish yourself emotionally, making sure that you laugh on a regular basis because laughter is so good for our soul. Gratitude and expressing thanks for all the blessings we have, forgiveness and forgiving others and letting go of that emotional baggage that's just so damaging. So these are all, I just gave you a ton of ideas to help you see how self-care it's more than just washing your face. Because we have all of these different areas of our life, and when these things come together, such as our physical, our mental, spiritual, and emotional sides, if something is out of balance, you're not complete. So think of it this way. Do you know people in their life in their life where they're really good at something, but because they're so good at that thing, they completely ignore something else that really needs attention? Maybe somebody is really good at work or their career or business, and they're so successful at it, so good at it. But because they only take care of that side of their life, perhaps their physical health is completely shot. They're they're overweight, or they suffer from a disease or an ailment of some sort because they're completely out of balance with how they take care of their body. Or you can have someone who is so connected spiritually to their God or their Heavenly Father or their religious faith, and you know that they are such a strong person in that regard, but then maybe at the end of the day when they go home, emotionally they are just a wreck, and we don't see it. Maybe I'm talking about you, maybe someone right next to you. The point is, we cannot feel completely fulfilled, completely alive, completely free of whatever ails us. Let me say that right. If we're not nourishing all of these different parts of us, because we have so many different sides. We're more than just three-dimensional. Think of a cube. It's got all these different sides in three dimensions, but us as a human beings, we know there's more to us than just three dimensions. There are aspects of us that we can't even see, right? Most of it, the mental, spiritual, and emotional sides, we can't even see those. We can sure as heck feel them, but there's so much more to us than just what we see. So when we ensure that we take care of all these different areas, they in turn support other areas, right? Let's say that you know that you need to better care of yourself with your exercise, for example, physically, but you feel like you're doing good everywhere else. Awesome, great. When you nourish that physical side, you strengthen yourself, start exercising, going to the gym, changing your body into something better, that effort to improve yourself on that level, it feeds into all other areas of your life. For example, individuals who exercise, when you exercise and go do really well in that area, you eliminate things like brain fog or memory issues. You have more endorphins and hormones in your body that are being produced that help contribute to all of the other positive aspects of our life, like positive emotions and taking us away from depression and anxiety and other tendencies like that. So these things all work together. They all support things. And so I want you to start paying attention to how are you taking care of yourself in all of these areas. And I know you might be thinking, Sarah, I have so much to do. Maybe you have kids and you work or you run a business or you're really involved with a community group or whatever it is. We're all busy. We are all so busy. It's always crazy, right? We're always going through the most difficult parts of our life right now, no matter where we are and who we are or what our circumstances are. And I get it. I get it. But I also know that when you incorporate the intention of increasing the self-care you have to all parts and aspects of you, even if it's for 5 minutes a day, it's going to make a difference. Of course, I recommend more than 5 minutes a day, but it's crucial and essential. Now, the good news is something that's so important with self-care is also rest. Rest. It is absolutely okay to rest because your body is a machine, yes, but it's so sophisticated and advanced that it actually doesn't work like a machine you think of like in a machine shop or a factory where it can just go and go and go 24/7 and maybe every 6 months you do some maintenance on it. You are more complicated in that, which is good, but you also are more complicated in the fact that you have to rest. You have to process what is happening, and that comes with plenty of sleep. I don't care what you say about how well you do on little or no sleep or, getting by on 4 or 5 hours a night. It's not enough. It's not enough. So, here's what I recommend. This is actually something I did. Take a few days in a row where you don't have to get up for work or something else. You don't need to set an alarm. Go to bed at a decent hour, before midnight, and just let your body sleep and wake up naturally on its own a few days in a row. And then look back and see kind of the average of how long you naturally slept without an alarm. And, do this for at least a few days or on a regular basis, and you'll see, okay, my body needs this amount of sleep on average every night. When I did this, I found out I averaged 7.5 hours just naturally. So I don't compromise that. Yes, maybe one day a week, every a few times a month, I'll sleep less, like 6 hours a night. But it is very rare. And I don't I don't care what some people say about how they can go without sleep. It's going to catch up to you. Your brain cannot process what it's going through without sleep. It's like all day it's gathering all of this stuff. It's everything. What is it? Your brain is stimulated by how many thousands of things a minute, and it can only hang on to so many it thinks are important, and then the rest it has to just push aside in a pile and deal with later. And then it also has to process and figure out what's important about what it does think is significant and put that somewhere and is working like a supercomputer, right? And when you sleep, that's when it does a ton of work. I mean, your brain never shuts off. It's working while you sleep. But what it's doing is it's cleaning up what happened that day and it's putting everything away, right? When we clean up after a long day, we clean up the house so that we can get ready for the next day. And if we didn't do that, our houses would be disasters 24/7, a nightmare, right? We couldn't function with dirty dishes and laundry everywhere if nothing ever got cleaned up and put away, right? The same thing for your brain. And that's what sleep does for it. So, along with rest and sleep, I highly recommend you get outside at least once a day for 15 minutes at least. And you take a day off once a week from working out so your body can rest that way, your muscles can rest. And then also, something I do is at the end of the day, I try to rest my brain before I go to sleep because if I'm just always on and I'm working up until I go to bed, my brain can't shut off. And so I will sit and watch something with my husband before we go to bed, or I'll read a novel, like something totally just fictional, so that my mind can just rest and it doesn't have to think about everything I'm dealing with. And so that plays into your mental and your spiritual and your emotional self care because you're resting your mind and your body. Okay, so that's a lot to digest, a lot of ideas. And if you're totally new at this self care thing, and Sarah, I thought it was just, combing my hair and putting on deodorant and I'm good. That's part of it, sure. But I hope you can see how when you take care of every part of you, everything else flourishes, right? We can't just take care. Say you have a whole garden, your garden of life that is you, a reflection of you. We can't plant everything and just take care of a small portion of it and expect everything to work optimally and expect everything in that garden to grow by only taking care of a small part of it. No, of course not. We have to take care of all of it. All of it. So, the key thing I want you to take away today is you have to do self-care on a daily basis. Daily, daily, daily basis. And if you don't have any sort of routine or habits that you normally do, rituals, just start with a couple things. Just start with a couple things and add on one or two each week. So, for example, if you want to get back into reading regularly, picking up, heck, it can be a novel, it doesn't have to be a personal development book or a business book. It could be anything. Maybe you just want to start reading. So, pick a time every day that you stick to and just read 5 minutes. And then maybe if I've been wanting to learn how to meditate more. I've been wanting to get better at that. Awesome. Just pick a time, piggyback it off of a regular thing you already do, and it becomes easier. For example, like every day you brush your teeth, right? You're in front of the mirror, you're brushing your teeth. That 30 seconds, 1, 2 minutes, whatever it is, that could be a time when you could also implement another simple self-care habit. Like while you're brushing your teeth, you can do your daily gratitude. Think of the things that you are grateful for and truly, truly love and are thankful they're in your life. You can piggyback off of that. So some of the things that I do, to just give you an example, and now please remember, I've taken to where I am now, it's taken me maybe like 9, 10 months, maybe a year to kind of put all of this in place with changes. And anyway, so here's what I do for my daily self-care. And I was one of those people where I thought that, if I brush my teeth, I'm good, right? Totally wrong. Totally wrong. until I started doing all of this, it's leaps and bounds have changed for me. So, for example, what I do is first thing in the morning when I get up to implement self care, I usually get up before everyone else to go to the gym and work out. Now, this is a weekday, of course, and on the way to the gym, I listen to motivational talks and messages from religious leaders in my faith. So that's like a 10-minute drive to the gym, and I listen to that. That's my part of my spiritual self-care right there, as I listen to faith-filled messages. And then I work out. That's my exercise, and it's also like my laughter, because if I'm in a fun class that I really enjoy, that lifts me up a lot. And then on the way home, driving back, I will listen to inspirational podcasts or just YouTube videos that have that. It's not really a video, it plays on YouTube, but it's really just audio that you're listening to. I will listen to those on motivation and inspiration and personal development. I have a lot of favorites that I listen to with that. And once I get home, typically I will sit down and I will journal for a while. I journal desires, I journal gratitude, I journal forgiveness, I journal intentions for the day, and a few other things. And then after that, I will meditate. And I do a lot of different things. I'll do simple release breathing. I'll say mantras over and over like, I am enough, I love myself. I will visualize alongside that meditation of desires I want for my dream life, the feelings I aspire to. Then I'll connect spiritually with my Father in heaven while I'm meditating. And at the end of it, I pray. So I've touched on a lot of different things there in just one sitting, which I really like to do because I get it all done at the same time. And then after that, I usually do some reading, like personal development reading out of books, physical books or my Kindle. And then I'll plan out my day, I'll review my projects and stuff and go from there. But that's getting away from self-care. So that is my morning. And usually if I can't get it all done in the morning before I need to go eat or wake up the kids, before I start working after lunch is when I will get all of those things in. And then in the evening, I'll always take time to just rest my brain with watching a show or reading a novel, and then I will read my scriptures and pray and go to bed. Then as I'm falling asleep, I'll often listen to positive affirmations that I've recorded on my phone and think about the gratitude I have for things that happened that day while I fall asleep. So that is kind of my morning and evening with how I implement self-care. And it took me a long time to get there, right? Before I started doing all of this, I probably just about only did prayer once a day. And that was it. And then all of these other things I have tacked onto it. And so you can really, really go far, but just take the first step. Remember, self-care is more than just washing your face or brushing your hair. It's nourishing every part of you so that the entirety of your life is supported on every level. Okay? So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick the one or two things that you're going to add into your schedule or your routine for greater self-care and self-love. And I want you to share it with me. Leave a comment, and or you can share it inside of our Facebook group. The Breakthrough to Your Beautiful Life Facebook group is free for anyone. That we talk a lot about what we talk about here on the podcast and other awesome ideas with a great group of folks in there. And you can go right to sarahbethprince.com/group, and that'll take you right there. So you're welcome to join, and I will add you. Again, please subscribe, rate, and review if you enjoyed this podcast. And please, if anything, take the next step to take care of yourself more today. Because without you, the rest of your life is meaningless. We need you. So implement some self-care, nourish yourself, share with me what that is, and I will be your cheerleader and help support you. We'll go from there. Okay, thank you for listening. We will see you next time.